Hello everyone and welcome back to Torchlight. We can quickly return to the dungeon because I think we've only just finished level 1, I believe. So let's head further down. And there we are. No, remember shift. Okay, need to maintain my health. As I said, the shift key can be fairly important.
Insufficient mana. Insufficient mana.
Okay, yes, insufficient mana. I get it. We can fix that. I'm so used from playing on lower difficulties that I just don't need mana potions, but on this difficulty I definitely do. Here we have a boss, by the way. As you can see from the yellow name, he's got a bit of a light aura around him, and he's got a special name, Face Flinger the Oppressor.
Your pet. Your pet is hurt.
Yep, my pet is hurt, so it's fleeing. It's quite common, especially, as I said, on higher difficulties. Basically my pet can't die, but when it goes too low in health, it starts running around and no longer fighting. I'll keep my distance. Okay, let's see what we got. So a belt, which I didn't have yet, nice shoulders, and a not very good pistol. But, okay. I'm just putting stuff that I'm definitely not going to be equipping into my pet, so I don't clutter my own inventory too much. One more feature, at least one I can think of right now, that I'm still wanting to show you. And after that,
You have triggered a trap.
you should be experts in the game. Or at least you should know all the stuff I'm doing. Yeah. That's one problem this type of game has. You tend to misclick a lot when you're trying to attack an enemy, which is why I should really try and use shift more often, as I've explained, but I keep forgetting, especially because I've played it a little bit recently, but mostly on low difficulties, and that means I ended up usually just putting some sort of AoE attack on the right mouse button, and most enemies would die from 1 or 2 hits of the AoE anyway, and then I didn't really need to pay attention to targeting. If I'm just walking inside the, into the middle of the mob and just stepping down to kill them all at once. Ah, there's a fishing hole, that's what I was going for. I just need to clear the area a little bit. Yeah, this should work. There is a fairly extensive fishing system in the game, whereby I can start fishing whenever I find a fishing hole. And as you can see, there's an outer ring, which is sort of growing and shrinking all the time. And when it hits the inner ring, I have to click to reel in the fish. And if I click too early or too late, I don't get the fish. And so I just got a reasonably nice item from fishing. It's just an experience boost for 5 minutes. This can be quite handy at times, though I don't usually use that kind of stuff. And we also got a fish, which is the batfish. It transforms into a Varkolin for 120 seconds. Fish, at least the ones in this sort of part of the inventory. There are some fish which get into your general equipment, but most of them get into the fish category, and those can be used to be fed to your pet, so I give some sort of special bonus to the pet. In the case of the batfish, it transforms my pet into a Varkolin for 2 minutes. Let's see if I can find... Okay, that was a little too early. There we go. And this is a muckfish, which is a different sort of transformation fish. It turns my pet into a pet goblin hound, which is an enemy that we haven't seen yet. Eventually, also off camera, I'm going to do quite a lot of fishing, but the problem is it gets fairly tedious, and quite honestly, I am most interested in getting a giant fish. Giant fish, basically, the larger the fish, the longer the transformation. So there's the normal fish, which I've just found. They do 120 seconds. Then there's larger ones, which do 1 hour transformations. And then there's giant fish, which do a permanent transformation. And obviously the permanent transformation is more interesting because it's... Once you have transformed your pet, you don't need to worry about finding new fish all the time. But these fish are very rare and only occur on the lower levels of a dungeon. So I'm not willing to spend that much time fishing while recording. There's a troll. And a ratlin. I want to get rid of the ratlin first because he's a lot weaker and the troll is quite slow. As you can see, by the way, I've got a sort of ice effect on him, like he's been slowed down. That's because my bow is enchanted and does +1 ice damage, and ice damage has a chance to freeze enemies. Or chill them, I guess, to make them slower. And this guy we know.
Did Syl send you after me? She must have thought I was in over my head again. Well, she's right. These monsters are getting stronger and I could use your help. I'm going after the fiend that was attacking Syl on the bridge. Will you join me?
And of course we are going to join him. He's now going to follow us around a little bit and also do some fighting. He's not very powerful, but at least he soaks up some damage and he can't die, so... These kind of bat things, like the one you see up here, that's a Varkolin, by the way, which my pet would transform into if I gave it the batfish. Not that I intend to. I don't really like the 2-minute fish. Too much micromanagement. Okay, 2 points in defense, 3 in dexterity. The problem is that by only speccing true attributes, I sort of limit myself very much in terms of what kind of armor I can wear. because a lot of armor requires magic and strength as well, and I only have very small amounts of points in those attributes. Okay, this level I can't improve my ricochet, so I'm just increasing my ranged weapon expertise. And also these boots do reflect damage, but I'm not going to be using them because they give less armor, which is more important at this stage. Hoping this is not the right way, because that would mean less backtracking. It would mean less backtracking if it's not the right way, is what I meant. And Brink does a very good job of tanking enemies, so he is quite handy, because I don't have to kite as much. And I also got a cracked fire ember, which increases fire damage when I put it in a weapon, or it improves fire resistance when I put it in armor or trinkets. But of course, these kind of low-level gems don't really serve much of a point. The effects are quite weak. Has to be said, however, that the game actually looks really nice. It has a sort of, well, it has its own visual style, as you can tell. It's not trying to be particularly photorealistic, but I actually think it works very well with the with just how it looks. It I don't know. It feels nice, rounded, and it gives off a nice atmosphere, at least to my mind. Okay, so I'm guessing Brink is currently low on health, and so he's fleeing. This is exactly what my pet does when it's low on health. It just starts running around randomly, and I think that's what he's doing right now. But it usually doesn't last very long. Go. Gels. These gels are not very strong, but if you get close they can be a bit of a pain. Which is why I'm keeping my distance. There we go. Killing enemies, killing boss enemies improves not only your experience, but also your fame. And I guess I'll get into that when I've got a fame upgrade. I think that's all the little bombs. There are, by the way, a lot of pathfinding glitches which you can sort of take advantage of in the game, where if you're standing in a correct spot, enemies try to find the most direct route, but can't, so they're just kind of stuck. I'll try not to take advantage of these too much, but at times it may be what I do. And there's also one rather annoying thing. The game has a very cool system in which if I finish the game with a character and I decide I don't want to play this character anymore, I can retire him, which means he will become unplayable, basically. He will be a retired character, so no longer out adventuring. But as a consequence, I can create an heirloom, which means I can choose one of the items that character was carrying, any kind of item, like any equipment that I have on him, and I can turn that into an heirloom. So I create a new character afterwards, which gets that item in an improved state. So what I'd done before I started this LP, in preparation, if you like, I had played through the game on a character on easy difficulty. I found a nice shield that I was going to use, and I heirloomed it. Heirlooming, for one, it increases the stats on the item, so if before it would give you 20 armor, it might give you 24 armor afterwards. It basically slightly improves the item. And let's send the pet to town. And it reduces the requirements. So I choose an item that had fairly high requirements, but after heirlooming it a couple of times, it would have been usable quite early in the game. And I was going to do that to basically give myself a slight advantage on this difficulty, just by having a good shield. The problem is that my pet is back, that the heirlooming system has a glitch associated with it. The problem is that when I heirloomed the item, it had a small health bonus on it. It would give like 200 health, which it would be a lot now since I only have 320. But at the stage that the shield was meant to be used at, it would not have been that much. But the heirlooming has glitched the bonus health to now give plus 5000 health, which is a bit of an unfair advantage. Problem is I can't really undo it. But now using that shield would feel like cheating, even though it's legitimately turned out that way through playing the game normally. But still, I don't know, it wouldn't be quite right somehow. Which means I'm now stuck without having that fairly good shield. And that means I'm going to have to find, either as a drop or from this blacksmith, a reasonable shield. Does he sell any? Yes, he does. It's not perfect, but I'll actually take it. And I have this 50 DPS pistol, so I'm using that. No. There we go. Nice and defensive. And I'm almost out of money, so that's fine. And unless I find a really good rifle, so yeah, unless I find a very good rifle, which might happen, I'm going to stick to the shield and pistol combo, just because it gives me a very nice boost to survivability. And as I said before, especially in the later stages, there will be a fair amount of dying that I would like to cut down on. Hate this ambush. Since this dungeon is randomly generated from chunks, eventually from when you play it a lot you will know certain places, and you will know that in this particular location there will be an ambush coming from this shaft. And I've decided when I find a fishing hole, I will firstly clear it, of course, and then I'm going to fish 5 fish. So firstly you will get an insight into the fishing system, And secondly, I will get some fish, just because there might be nice ones. Right now all I'm getting is amber fish eyes, some tasty fish meat, no actual fish just yet. A webfish, turning my pet into a spider. And finally, a glooper jelly, turning my pet into a gel, as far as I know. That should be fine, yeah. This is level 3 now, by the way, which is where the boss bounty is. If you remember, we took from the sort of drillbot, the barge robot in town, we took a quest to kill a certain boss, and that's on this level. Good. Now.
I'm wounded.
Ouch. Don't kill me. The mages can be a little troublesome, but they're manageable, I guess. And this fishing hole is clear. In the earlier levels there tend to be more fishing holes, and later on they are more rare. So you won't be seeing that much fishing all the time. Mysterious boots, very nice. As is traditional, of course, when you're fishing, you occasionally fish boots. Just, you know, the sort of traditional comic of someone fishing and there's no fish but just like an old boot. It's kind of like that. So it can be a nice source for getting your footwear, I guess. When I said 5 fish, I mean successful attempts. I don't count failures. That should be 5 though. Okay, so these are mysterious boots, which means they're actually unique. So it's quite rare to get unique boots from fishing. You usually get rare ones, but let's identify those. Ooh, very nice. As you can see, giving me quite a nice bonus, so I'm definitely equipping these. And they require high dexterity, but luckily I'm a dexterity-based character, so I have high dexterity. Okay, tasty fish meat, might as well. No, might as well. Thank you. Put that in my hotbar. It's just a sort of healing item. It heals more health than my potions currently do over a smaller amount of time, so it's faster for healing me. And it also gives me some mana back. As for fish, the 2-minute fish can all go to my pet. If I just give them to the pet, he will sell them when I send him to town. I would have to right-click them to feed to the pet. And slow progress, I know.
Gain in experience.
Very nice, very nice. So I now have a certain amount of health drain as well from the boots, if you remember. do the level up in just a moment when I've cleared the area a little bit. There's another boss back here. Kuzmazar the Reviled. Fair enough. Okay. Now, being on level 5, I basically get the next level of skills unlocked, which means I now have Frost Pilum. Pilum, which is sort of a piercing ice projectile. They are... It's a fairly nice skill, but I prefer Ricochet, so that's what I'm putting points in anyway. Critical Strikes is a nice passive skill, improving my critical damage and critical hit chance. Stab is another close range attack, which, because I'm playing on this difficulty, I won't be using. It does a lot of damage though, so... By the way, the 50%, like the 250% stats you see right under the mana cost, it means it uses half of my magic damage and half of my weapon damage. There's Armor Expertise, which reduces requirement of my armor equipment and improves the amount of armor I get from them. And finally, in the Arbiter tree, we get Dual Wielding, giving me bonus damage when dual wielding. I believe this applies when I'm carrying a gun and a shield as well. So this would give me a 6% damage bonus at this point, but I'm not speccing that, and a Flame Trap, which just does fire damage. But for now I'm improving my Ricochet ability further, because it's my main damage skill as long as I'm not auto-attacking. And I'm only auto-attacking when I've got no other choice. Well, actually, against single targets I'm auto-attacking. Oh, and I forgot stat points. And in addition to that, I have some unidentified stuff, using up my scrolls entirely. Don't want those boots. Definitely want that. Yeah. However, it's actually been well over an episode now, so I'll see you next time. Bye bye.